I'd like to call the Monday, June 30th, 2025 meeting of the Sikeston City Council to order. Record of attendance, Ms. Miranda.
Baker.
Here.
Drake.
Here.
Lindsay.
Here.
Robinson.
Here.
Teach Out.
Here.
And Ware.
Here.
We'll open up with the opening prayer by Mr. Tom Robinson and then the Pledge of Allegiance by Matt Drake.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for your many blessings. We thank you for the opportunity to care for the world you have made. We ask that your blessings would rest on this council, that you would give us great vision and enthusiasm for our work. Please bless the efforts of our hands, the bonds between us, and the influence of our work in this community. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's been a while since I've sat at this position. Please bear with me. Mayor Turnbow is recovering nicely, from what I understand. First order of business is approve the solid waste contract. JD?
Yes, sir. Mayor and council, the city provides residential solid waste and recycling via a contract with a private trash hauler. Sunny Solid Waste is our current provider. Their contract expires July 31st of this year. So back in November, City Council authorized us to release a request for proposals for providers of that service. And then back in February, you selected Sunny Solid Waste as the lowest and best proposal. We have negotiated a contract with Sunny Solid Waste based on their proposal. That is attached in your packet today. Just a couple items to note there. It has the same schedule of holidays, which are excluded from service as the prior contract. And the reason I note that is there was a citizen that made a flurry of phone calls to council members and staff members back around the Martin Luther King Jr. Holiday, requesting that the city via our contractor don't pick up on that holiday. And we told them we would, or I told them we would discuss that when this contract came back. I did discuss that with Sunny's. They prefer to keep picking up on that day, and staff believes that probably most citizens would prefer that we keep picking up trash on that day. So we've not made a change to the contract there. Other significant changes to the budget, or to the contract. There's new rates, of course, that were included in the proposal. The contract does include optional curbside recycling, like we have right now. But the contractor asked for a clause that they can suspend or discontinue recycling services with 30-day notice to the city if the market changes such that recycling is no longer a viable option for them. And I will say I've gone to lots of conferences over the last few years where big recycling and solid waste companies have spoken, and that is pretty common. The recycling market in the last 5 or more years has changed pretty dramatically to where, especially in rural areas like ours, it is not financially viable for most companies to recycle. So they have an option to suspend that with 30-day notice to us. And then as for bulky item pickup, the contract continues the twice a year, spring and fall, drop-off program at the compost site that we do, but adds a curbside, one item curbside for free at a agreed upon date. They'll probably do it in the summer sometime. So one item's free, and then additional items, the resident can pay $35 per item if they need more than that item. And anytime throughout the year, they can do the same thing. They can call Sonny's and have them come pick up an item, schedule time to have an item picked up for $35. So that option is out there. Other than that, everything else is pretty standard, and we'd recommend approval of the contract.
Okay. Does the council have any questions?
Sir.
Are there any questions from the floor?
New rate.
What is the new rate? I have it's about, let's see here. Give me just a second. And these are the rates that were proposed in the bids. It'd be $29.25 the first year, and then it goes up by 3 or 4% each year. And that was the lowest of the proposals.
Are there any other questions? Entertain a motion to approve.
I'll motion to approve the contract.
Second.
Ryan? Roll call, please, Ms. Rhonda.
Drake,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Teach Out,
Yes.
Ware,
Yes.
and Baker.
Yes.
Next item is approve the lease agreement with the country club. Was that you too?
I'll take that too.
Take that one too.
The Sikeston Country Club approached the city with a request to lease a piece of ground just south of the country club and just north of the city-owned Essex building. It's some city-owned property that has essentially been a vacant lot for many years. The city has mowed it, and the country club has mowed it at different times. It's about 5.64 acres. Their intended use of that land would be to move the cart sheds for the country club down there, and then that would allow them to construct a new clubhouse roughly in the location of the current cart sheds. So that ground has been a vacant lot. Like I said, it occasionally functions as overflow parking when they have big tournaments or something at the country club. It is part of the original airport layout plan, which means that the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, still has some jurisdiction over that ground. It does belong to the city, but FAA regulations apply essentially to protect the airport functions. So buildings can't be over a certain height. The use can't be incompatible with the airport and whatnot. The attached lease agreement is a 50-year lease for $1,000 paid up front. That is a similar arrangement as the other commercial properties north of there along Industrial Drive, essentially long-term, low-rent leases for economic development purposes. So that was developed as an industrial park of sorts many, many years ago. The lease has all the FAA restrictions on building heights and usage to protect the airport, which also limits the usefulness of that ground to some people. But we have that lease here. The country club is good with this, and we would ask your approval.
Any questions from the council? Anybody from for the audience? Any questions? Okay,
Make a motion to approve the lease to the country club.
Second.
motion is second made. Roll call vote, Ms. Rhonda?
Lindsay,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Teach Out,
Yes.
Ware,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
and Drake.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on with more airport business, so to speak. Approve a lease for the airport fuel trucks. I believe this has been passed to Gage.
All right. Over the past probably 2 months or so of me being at the airport, I've been familiarizing myself with day-to-day operations and just kind of reaching out to tenants and customers on any suggestions, just kind of help make the airfield better. And something that's been brought to my attention a lot is the addition of an avgas refueler. We currently offer avgas self-serve, and we do have a Jet A refueler, but we do not have an avgas refueler at the moment. So I looked at our lease, and the last lease was negotiated in 2018, and it was for one 3,000-gallon Jet A refueler, and we were paying $1,500 a month. That term was around 3 years, and it's been month to month since. So for about 4 years, we've just been doing month to month at the $1,500. I reached out to our Titan Aviation Fuels sales rep, and we have been in negotiations of adding an avgas refueler, but I wanted to factor in the depreciation of our current truck. Although it still works good, we've had it for 7 years now. So we renegotiated from $1,500 a month to $1,200 a month with the addition of a $500 a month avgas refueler. So we're looking at a total of $1,700 a month rather than $1,500 a month. And this is still under budget for this fiscal year. But I do believe this would help increase traffic, fuel sales. It'd require a lot of our transient aircraft not to have to do hot starts, put the wear and tear on their engines. We've actually had a lot of people ask us to tow their airplanes, and so that they didn't have to start at self-serve back to a T. But with us being a primarily GA airfield, I believe this would be a really good investment moving forward.
So in essence, instead of $1,500 for one truck, we're looking at $1,700 for two trucks.
Correct.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Any questions from the council? Any questions? Okay, the chair would entertain a motion to approve this lease.
I make a motion that we approve the lease for the airport fuel trucks.
I'll second.
Roll call, please, Ms. Brenda.
Robinson,
Yes.
Teach Out,
Yes.
Ware,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Drake,
Yes.
and Lindsay.
Yes.
Next item is the renew the fuel supply agreement with Titan Aviation Fuels.
Okay. Yeah, this lease was also negotiated at the same time that we did the Jet A refueler, so it was August 1st of 2018. I found this contract was just kind of outdated. They're actually using Shell Aviation in this lease rather than the rebranded Titan Aviation. This essentially just ensures that we have a reliable source of fuel where they will be federally compliant as long as that we do our end on quality control and safety. They'll also it also states that we can only purchase fuel from Titan or their vendors, and they're also responsible for any fuel shortages to make sure that we still get our fuel on time. Any party can terminate this contract of any breaches, and since we've had them for the last 7 years, and we're actually attempting to maybe go to their software, and we use their refuelers with the 7-year relationship that we have with them. I felt that this was the best to just renegotiate this and move forward with this as well. So we are also wanting to sign a new fuel contract lease with them.
Okay. Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the lease
Second.
or the new fuel contract. I think I said
Okay.
lease,
Second.
the fuel
Yes.
contract.
Roll call, please, Ms. Rhonda.
Teach Out,
Yes.
Ware,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Drake,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
and Robinson.
Yes.
Thank you, Gage. Appreciate that. Next up is authorization to purchase a street sweeper. Mr. Dial.
Good afternoon, council. Staff is coming to you this afternoon to seek authorization to purchase a 2025 Elgin Broom Badger sweeper to replace our current sweeper. The Sourcewell cooperative price for this item with discounts is $282,405.58. Staff will seek a financing package to purchase this item and a new front-end loader at a later time this year. This is a budgeted purchase. Staff intends to surplus the current sweeper and auction it on Purple Way. We're just coming to you to authorize the purchase of this sweeper this afternoon.
What does a used sweeper go for on the auction market these days?
We looked on the market, they got one comparative to us. The last time we looked at the bids, it was like at 28 or 29,000.
What's the life expectancy?
We've had this one since 2000 what? 2016, so
9 years.
around 9-10 years.
The old style sweeper,
Yeah,
I think they used, we ballpark 3 years on them.
every 3 years we had to get a new one.
Tried
These,
this one is a new experiment that's paid off big time.
it's-
Kate uses these two.
Okay.
so.
How many miles you put on it a year?
I have no idea. As far as miles,
Just curious.
yeah, I don't know.
I'd say something like that, you have more engine wear than you have
It
extra
has
miles.
hours on it.
Hours on it.
Yes.
Any questions? Council? Any questions from anybody in the audience? Chair would entertain a motion.
I'll motion to authorize the purchase of the street sweeper.
A second.
Roll call, Ms. Rhonda.
Ware,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Drake,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
and Teachout.
Yes. Next item is the authorization to purchase a front-end loader.
It's me again. All right, staff is seeking council authorization to purchase a 2025 Komatsu WA 200-8 front-end loader to replace our current loader. The Sourcewell cooperative price for this item with discounts is $209,900. Staff is seeking a financial package to purchase this along with this new street sweeper at a later time this year. This is a budgeted item.
Okay. Is this a replacement of one, or what are we trading
Well,
old in, or they going to Purple Waves?
No, our intention is to keep the old one and use it at the compost site. That's where most of our damage is done to our front end loader to make it look, it's in better shape than what it looks. Rather than put a new machine down there, it's probably we think it's worth our benefit as well as the city to keep that machine and just use it as a compost, as well as if we do have something that needs to be worked on the new one, something in future year, we have a backup to where we're not just dead in the water.
Okay.
And there's a lot of attachments that we can use, that we have for these machines, that they will interact together, so.
Okay, good deal. Any questions? Folks have any questions? Chair would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the purchase of the front end loader.
Second.
Roll call, Ms. Rhonda.
Baker,
Yes.
Drake,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Teachout,
Yes.
and Ware.
Yes.
And next up is authorization to purchase tractor.
Me.
You again.
Council staff is seeking council's authorization to purchase a 2025 John Deere 5100E cab tractor to replace our current tractor. The Sourcewell cooperative price for this item with discounts is $72,319.23. The trade-in value for our Kubota M8560 is about $12,000, resulting in the purchase balance of $60,319.23, and this is also a budgeted item.
Okay. What will this one be used for, Brian?
This is the tractor we mow our right-of-ways. It's our primary tractor that mows our right-of-ways. We also have another tractor that we pull our bat wing. It's a John Deere that we mow the larger areas of the airport and the bigger fields, like out by the new overpass. We use that out there, and out by the Clinton building, there's a big field. So, but this tractor here that we're trying to purchase tonight is our main right-of-way mowing tractor.
We have good luck with the John Deeres.
So far, so good.
Any questions? Chair would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to authorize the purchase of a new tractor.
Second.
Roll call, Ms. Rhonda.
Drake,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Teachout,
Yes.
Ware,
Yes.
and Baker.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dial. Last meeting, we were discussing Resolution 250601, which was authorization to apply for a TAP funding for the downtown lighting. Last meeting, we tabled that motion till we could get some more information from some other entities, and we need to bring that motion back up off the table. I would entertain a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to bring up the resolution 250601.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And at this time, we will move forward with Resolution 250601, authorization to apply for the TAP funding by downtown lighting. And I believe Zach Buckler is going to tell us about this one.
Yeah, evening council. Let's see. Yeah, we talked about this at the June 9th meeting. So we were approached, I guess shortly after I started last fall, from BMU about failing streetlights downtown, and that they need to be replaced along Center and then New Madrid. Yeah, did you have the map there? Yeah, so that's kind of the project scope that we were going through. Last time it was in your handout. So working with BMU and back and forth, we kind of decided that due to the conditions down there and these new lightings, the new lights that need to be installed, a lot of concrete and sidewalk work will need to be removed to lay conduit and do lighting. And make those connections. So they reached out to us and Jay, and we were trying to figure out a budget for what this might cost and what our feasibility may do. And it was determined that there'd be quite a bit of sidewalk work that would need to be replaced if these were installed. So we kind of worked through that budget. You can see that in your council letter there. And then we were looking for funding opportunities for this. We came down to a transportation alternatives program application that would, we think, be a good fit for this. And in dealing some of the history of this, I think on that map, Rhonda, there was the other one that kind of showed the actual lights themselves. So I'm not exactly sure on the history, but at least 13 or plus more years ago, we actually got this funded through a similar program for, you can see Front Street, that's the red, and then up Kings Highway in red. And they kind of intended to do a phase 2 of this. So those are the acorn kind of nice historic looking lights that you see on Front Street. And they kind of did a temporary fix because of finances for Center, New Madrid, around Malone Park. With the idea that we would find money to fund this again. We're now at that time where we're pursuing that. So what you kind of see there is what we're proposing to do in green. So the grant application requires a resolution from council. If you approve that, we would commit up to 20% of a match to fund this project. Let's see the totals. When all is said and done, we got a total of around $726,000 to do the whole thing. That 20% match is around $143,000. BMU can do they have the equipment and the manpower to install the new lighting, so they can take care of that in-house. That in-house work is roughly $95,000. So if we take in that in kind, that leaves a gap of about $70,000. In talks with BMU, if we're awarded, we plan to enter into a contract to kind of they can commit up to $35,000 in addition cash to that $90K in kind, with the city doing $35 as well to kind of meet that $70,000 gap. And that's based on a prorated. We kind of reduced. We did high numbers and we did a reduced estimate on what we think their in kind would count for. So if this application goes well, we might actually get more counted towards our in kind. So that number could be lower, but we're asking the council to approve up to 70, with plans that if we're awarded, we would do 35 and BMU would do 35 in addition to the in kind.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope I'm explaining that right. If
the
if
70
you have any
includes 35,000 from BMU.
correct, yeah. So that 70, it's on paper that we're doing that, but we're going to enter into an agreement that we would do that they would kick in 35 of that.
Okay.
How competitive is this grant? Like,
We've applied for it before and not been chosen, and we've applied for it before and gotten 2 projects out of it. It just kind of depends on who all's applying at the time. It's varied.
And this is the way they divvy up. These funds are by the district in the state, so we're going after Southeast money, and they've upped the max you can ask for in this latest cycle. So, I mean, no one knows for sure, but you can interpret it that, on the rosy side, that maybe they have a little bit more funds or they're funding bigger projects. So we're kind of towards the upper echelon, I guess, of what their max would be, because you can only get a $600,000 max. So that's like a $700-something thousand project, and we're at 726. So we'd be towards the higher end of it. Yeah.
I'll add to your question, sir. Do you mind if I jump in? Forgive me. We have 3 quasi-open tap projects right now as far as our success in getting these in the past. The Northwest Trail, both phases of that have been done through the TAP program, and 2 of our rail trail projects are TAP projects. So we have had some success, and then we've had some years where we've applied and not received. So, but we try to be a good project sponsor for MoDOT, and it really just comes down to there's been years where there weren't enough applications to fund the money they had, and then there's some times where they have twice the amount of applications for the funding they have. So it just kind of varies.
what's the time frame on knowing that? Or
Yeah.
The applications are due next month, the July 11th.
And then they would award.
Yeah, I think September is their goal. So that, as far as budgeting wise, more than likely the construction of these projects probably wouldn't even happen in this fiscal year.
And I guess the one other thing was BMU's they're failing. Like, according to them, they're going to replace it either way. So, with the aluminum lights, right? Because they don't really have the funds to do these matching. They call them Acorn. Those ones on Front Street, they look like a Acorn historic light. So now's the time if they were going to do it.
Okay.
So they are going to be like the ones on Front Street?
Yeah, those are as close as they can get. I don't know if it's the exact same company, but they've got estimates on whoever they work with that, yeah, they should match.
Yeah, I think as long as they get this grant, they'll be able to do that. If they don't get the grant, they would probably have to go with a traditional street light.
Yeah, these aluminum pole lights that are on center.
When we tabled this, we were in more of like the $100,000 range, right? And now we're at between 35 and 70.
Right.
Yeah.
I think our reasoning as staff, we're comfortable recommending if the BMU's willing to put 35,000 in cash, that we match that. It's not until probably the next fiscal year anyway. And if for $35,000 we can get the historic lighting throughout downtown as pictured, as well as a number of sidewalk improvements downtown, we feel that's a pretty good investment.
The last time we were here, I think our estimates were around 90,000, 92,000, all coming from us. We went back, rewalked the streets, looked at unit prices, brought the estimate down to about the local match, the remaining local match from that 92 down to about 70 after refining the estimates. And then after that, then we went and visited with staff, and JD visited with BMU and got them to dedicate that 35,000. So yeah, it went from around 92 to looking around 35. So for us, for $35,000, we'd be able to get about a $750,000 project, which is less than 5% on our part.
Absolutely. Are there any other questions? Chair would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve the resolution for the TAP project.
I'll second.
Roll call, Ms. Rhonda.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Peach Out,
Yes.
Ware,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
and Drake.
Yes.
Next up is Resolution 250602, authorization to apply for CDBG funding for demolition of Cornerstone Baptist Church Old Sanctuary. Zach, that's you?
Yeah, so we're back with another grant application. Shortly after I started last fall, well, it was JD and Barry and I and Mr. Marshall reached out to the city about some help with the old Cornerstone Baptist Church sanctuary building. They've added on to the east of that, and they now use that facility, and the old one has become decrepit and is in need of demolition, and they're without the resources to remove it, and sought the city's help if there was anything we could do to help get rid of the building. We didn't have the funds internally, so we kind of started looking at potential grant funding or opportunities out there that might help with this. In doing that research, we found the next cycle of the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, has a demolition portion of that application that funds the elimination of slum and blight in cities, either by an area or spot basis. In this case, it'd be a spot basis. Nonprofits are eligible, but they can't apply themselves. You have to go through a city or a county to work with the state. But cities and counties can apply on behalf of a local nonprofit for demolition funding. So in working with Mr. Marshall, we thought this would be a good project, would help that area and would eliminate a building that's deemed dangerous. And I think Barry was out there with his team and condemned it. It's got asbestos. We just got that inspection back today. And there's properties next to it that could be damaged if it's allowed to deteriorate much more. So we felt this was a worthwhile project to pursue. CDBG does require a 20% local match. We would be working with Cornerstone Baptist, applying on their behalf, with them supplying the local 20% match in cash funds. They had an estimate of around $200,000, $250,000 to demolish the structure and just bring it back to a vacant lot. So working on that number, that's about a $50,000 local match requirement. Anything else? Do you have anything you wanted to say, Mr. Marshall?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, my name is Matt Marshall.
I'll take this.
I'm the, okay.
Sorry.
trustee of Cornerstone Baptist Church, and I serve as the chief executive officer. And I got the pleasure of with Pastor Neighbors and First Lady Neighbors here tonight with me. So I got a lot of courage to stand up here. And our membership, we told everybody not to show up, just a few who really wanted to support what we're doing. We didn't want to take up all the seats in your facility here. We've got one of the largest minority church organizations in Sikeston, and we've been doing our ministries here for 44 years. So we're quite old in the community. And Pastor Neighbors took over from his father, Reverend L.J. Neighbors. And in 96, I think Pastor Neighbors, L.J. Neighbors, took over the church ministries in 1996. And we have been at the corner of Scott and Trotter for the last, I would like to say, 30 years. And the building has deteriorated, and we're not utilizing. Matter of fact, we hadn't utilized it for the last 10 years. So we've come up with some ideas and conclusions on how we could get that building down, which will help to beautify the area, which we have been doing since 1996. We want to keep in mind that we got the matching funds, and we qualify for the CDBG grant requirements. And it's been a pleasure working with Zach and some of the others to get the information that they needed for this grant application. And with that, we'll continue with our slogan, the vision is coming to pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. Are there any questions from the council? Okay. Entertain a motion on Resolution 250602.
I make a motion that we approve Resolution 250602 CDBG grant to
Second.
Cornerstone Baptist Church.
Sorry. Second.
Motion and a second. Ms. Rhonda, roll call vote.
Robinson,
Yes.
Teachout,
Yes.
Ware,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Drake,
Yes.
and Lindsay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, first reading, emergency bill 6381, fiscal year 25 budget, second amendment. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor for the first reading, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? First reading, please, ma'am.
Bill number 6381, as adopted, shall become emergency ordinance number 6381 and shall amend ordinance number 6349, the fiscal year 25 budget amendment. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Sikeston, Missouri as follows. This includes sections 1 through 6, all of its parts and subparts, and it's read and introduced the second time, the 30th day of June, 2025.
First time.
Sorry, first time. The 30th day of June, 2025. My apologies.
We'll get there in just a second, I promise. So at our last council meeting, we had budget amendments. We have budget amendments every year. This just so happened that this year, with the purchase of the bonds for the fire station, there was an additional amendment that needed to be made. This amendment is just for the transfer of the funds from the building reserve fund to the debt services fund to make the payments for the bonds, for the first two payments for the bonds. They started in FY25, and we had originally thought that they might start in FY26. This allocates for those transfers and funds for the first two payments.
Okay. Any questions? Anybody? Okay. Need a motion for the second reading, emergency bill number 6381.
So moved.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Second reading, please, ma'am.
Bill number 6381 as adopted shall become emergency ordinance number 6381 and shall amend ordinance number 6349, the fiscal year 25 budget amendment. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Sikeston, Missouri as follows. This bill includes sections 1 through 6, all of its parts and subparts, and it's read this second time, the 30th day of June, 2025.
Same thing.
Nothing's changed?
No, sir. Nothing's changed in the last 30 seconds.
All right. Anybody thought of a question they need to ask? Chair would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve bill number 6.
Second.
Roll call vote, please, Ms. Rhonda.
Teachout,
Yes.
Ware,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Drake,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
and Robinson.
Yes.
Great. First reading of emergency bill 6382, authorization to apply for federal financial assistance on behalf of Scott County Transit System. Is there a motion for the first reading?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ms. Tabitha.
Bill number 6382, as approved, shall become ordinance number 6382 and shall authorize the mayor and city clerk to apply for federal financial assistance on behalf of the Scott County Transit System and to execute any contracts resulting from such application for any grants between the Scott County Transit System and the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission, providing for capital, operating, and/or marketing assistance comprised of federal funds to be expended for commission-approved transit projects. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Sikeston, Missouri as follows. This bill includes sections 1 through 6, all of their parts and subparts, and it's read and introduced to the council the first time on this day, 30th day of June, 2025.
So last week, we were approached by the Scott County Transit System. They are seeking funding, bless you, through the state to apply for a Section 5339, which is an Federal Transit Administration grant. Typically, in the past, they have applied for Section 5331 for funding, but this year they're looking to apply for Section 5339. This funding will allow them to replace I got my ordinances here backwards. Yes, it will allow them to replace 5 of their vehicles that they need to replace. The grant does call for an 80-20 match, so a 20% local match. The transit already has that match in hand.
Okay. Cool. Are these vans, buses? Just curious.
They're
I believe it was 2 buses and 3 vans.
correct. So all 3 total come to $431,904. The grant will pay for $345,523.
Okay.
There is no cost to the city.
Any questions? Okay. Entertain a motion for the second reading.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Second reading, please.
Bill number 6382, as approved, shall become ordinance number 6382 and shall authorize the mayor and city clerk to apply for federal financial assistance on behalf of the Scott County Transit System and to execute any contracts resulting from such application for any grants between the Scott County Transit System and the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission, providing for capital, operating, and/or marketing assistance comprised of federal funds to be expended for commission-approved transit projects. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Sikeston, Missouri as follows. This bill includes sections 1 through 6, all of its parts and subparts, and it's read the second time, the 30th day of June, 2025.
I would like to say that it should be noted, typically the way we handle this when we apply for grants through MoDOT is that we pass a resolution and then come back at a later date and pass an ordinance in support of that. With the deadline for this grant application, it's July the 11th, and since we canceled our next regularly scheduled council meeting, it doesn't allow for that, which is why we brought this as an emergency ordinance.
I understand. Anybody thought of a question? Chair would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve bill number 6382.
Second.
Roll call, Ms. Rhonda.
Ware,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Drake,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
and Teachout.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Amanda. This is the time where, is there anything anybody would like to speak about or bring up before the council before we adjourn? None seeing. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you all.
Well done, sir.